Welcome everybody to Women in Wellness. This is a program to help you create gorgeous growth for your blissful business in health and wellness. I'm Dr. Gabby, holistic health expert and founder of Women in Wellness. And this is a one-of-a-kind course and community designed to empower and inform you about how to build a purposeful and profitable holistic business. And today I invited an awesome guest, the savvy widow, Kenia Nunez. And Kenia is the author of Surrendering: When Pain is Transformed into Extraordinary Blessings. And she's also the founder of Savvy Me, a proven self-care system to reclaim self-worth by way of self-care. She's also a Beachbody coach and has helped hundreds of women with fitness, nutrition, lifestyle goals. And whether it's tapping into relationship issues, dealing with loss, or losing weight, Kenia is passionate about transformation from the inside out. Welcome, Kenia.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, Gabby. Thank you.
Of course. So tell us a little bit about how you got into this wonderful world of wellness. How did that happen?
I stumbled upon it. Back in 2012, I was going through the toughest period of my life. My husband was just newly diagnosed with cancer, and I had already been battling like the secret depression that everyone in my inner circle was aware of, but out in the outside world, I had my game face on, and that actually took a greater beating on my soul because I had to live like these two separate lives. So when he got sick, I realized, you know what, my kids need one of us to be okay. And that's when I decided to take charge of my own life. And I realized that all the things around me were falling apart. I could not control them. I had to surrender them all to God. But the one thing that I could do was take care of myself.
And so what was that cancer journey like? Did you visit alternative practitioners? Did you seek out holistic therapies?
So at the beginning, we went the traditional route. We saw many doctors. We got many second, third, fourth opinions, and we decided we didn't know anything other than the traditional treatment. So we went with chemo, and by the time he started his chemo treatment, he was already at stage 2 cancer. And just like maybe 2 to 3 months later, he was at stage 4.
And then at some point during that process, when you had this awakening that you had to take care of yourself, you had to take care of your kids, what did you do to empower yourself or educate yourself about what you needed to do?
Well, the more I realized that traditional doctors, as great as they are, and they're lifesavers, and I have total and utter respect for all doctors, but I realized that they were not always giving us the best advice, or they were not giving us the information that would empower us. So while my husband was going through chemo, I begged the doctors. I was just like, can we get him on a great nutrition plan? And their take on it was just that I was reading too much on the internet, and I needed to stop all that.
Stop Googling everything.
Stop Googling. That's exactly what. Were you at that meeting? So yeah, stop Googling, stop researching, just stop it. And just let this man live, let him eat what he wants. And I begged of them. I said, listen, he is having red meat. He's having Chinese food. He's having, Gatorade and everything that he wants. And they're like, yeah, that's normal. That's fine. At that point, I decided that I needed to do my own research, and I did continue to Google. And I found that while he was getting chemo, there was things we could do to strengthen him on every level. And although he was resistant, he still went with a few things. But then when he was at the stage 4 cancer and there were no longer treatment options, that's when he was like, okay, I'm game. What do you got? So.
Right. And that's my experience too, is that a lot of people have to get to a point almost of desperation before they change their lifestyle and adopt all these new habits and things like that. When did the Beachbody coaching and all of that stuff come into play for you? Was that during this time or after?
Beachbody came in right into, I feel like my whole growth happened at the same time. The month of March 2012 was when I started going to church, doing Beachbody coaching, like everything happened that month. And there's no accident to that. So I got into Beachbody because a friend told me about it, and I felt like she was pushing me to buy something. I was like, whatever, I have so much stress on my plate, whatever. What do you want me to buy? The shake? Yeah, I'll get that. So I got it. And I was like, wait a second, I started doing Insanity. I was already doing it on my own before I was introduced to the business. And that was my outlet. And the way I discovered Insanity was that I was laying in bed with my husband, already diagnosed with cancer. I was 50 pounds heavier than I am now. And I was just desperate. And I saw this program and I said, if that program does not kill me, I said, it's going to pull me through, because I never thought I could do it. And I was in such a bad place that I felt that, you know, I needed like a good beating in some way, shape, or form. And this was going to give it to me. And I started doing it and I loved it. It became an addiction and it was like my fuel, my therapy. And then I just started sharing, you know, just naturally sharing what I'm doing. I was proud of what I was doing. And my husband was very private about his cancer, so I couldn't talk about him. So I talked about me on social media, and people just started following me. And I realized I became like the accidental coach, and I started coaching people through what I was experiencing. And that's how that happened.
I love that. I love that you started just working on yourself, and then people were naturally attracted to what you're doing and wanted to start working with you. So what was that like when you started telling other people about the Beachbody program and all the things they could do to lose weight and feel better?
It was great, because at first I was like, wait, like, no, I can't give you advice. I'm not a nutritionist. I don't know anything. But I realized that at that point, I didn't even have a word for it, right? Like, I was approaching wellness holistically. And when I was able to be just my authentic self and share with people, yes, I am drinking a shake and I am working out, but I'm also doing all of these other things that are helping me thrive. It felt amazing that I was able to give back, because at that point, I felt that that fueled my soul, where I felt broken in so many other areas, but it empowered me to feel good about other areas of my life that I was actually making an impact on.
Right. So let's talk about the broken bit a little bit. Before this, you were working in corporate America, right? So what was that experience like of being in the corporate space? Was that fulfilling, or were there things that were missing for you?
Yeah, I have a funny story. When I was like, my mom had me at 17 and she worked in a sweatshop her entire life. She busted her butt, and her dream for me was very limited. She came to the United States a few years later. I was born, and you know, she's a teenager. My biological father, basically abandoned her, you know, abandoned us. So her dream for me was for me to work in an office. That was her big dream. She's like, I want you to work with papers, making copies. And you know, that was like a big dream for her, because all she knew was working in a sweatshop and getting paid pennies for the garment that she sewed. And so I laughed, because I became the ultimate office worker. I did such a great job. I was always the executive assistant to some CEO, some top level executive. I rocked it. Like, I became the best office worker ever.
That's amazing.
So what I realized in that was that I never, in achieving that, great, right? But I never had dreams. That was it. That was just, I had accomplished like what I had, you know, set out to do. And so it was great, because it was a secure space, when other things in my life weren't so secure. And I really thrived on the positions that I was thrown into. I was always the go-to person. Everyone could rely on Kenia, you know. But I also recognized that over the 20 years I worked in corporate America, I was passed up for many positions, not because I wasn't capable, because I didn't believe in myself. I had limited beliefs, and so I never dreamed. So that took a toll on me as well, where people around me, you know, would thrive in their careers as I sat in the same position, basically different jobs, of course, but never moving beyond an executive assistant position.
Right. I love how you labeled this limiting belief as one of the obstacles for you, you know, moving forward, getting promotions, you know, having bigger dreams for yourself. So how do limiting beliefs show up for you? Like what does that look like, and how does it hold you back?
Yeah, it just holds you back. It's a creepy little monster, because it doesn't, like, you know, show its face in the way that you think. It's just the fact that, you know, you go to work, you do what you're supposed to do, as long as you're getting, you know, your paycheck every week, and you're contributing to your 401k, and you have those 2 weeks vacation, you're doing amazing. That's phenomenal compared to the life that my mom led. So my limited beliefs were just not even in being aware that I could do more. You know, I was the first to graduate college, the first to own a home. So by any other measure, I'm doing amazing, but I had dreams for myself, and I never realized that I could think beyond that. So the limited beliefs were not knowing that I had limited beliefs, if that makes any sense.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And as a young person, were there any figures, any aspirational role models that you saw that you wish that maybe you could be like them or you could have what they had?
Yeah, definitely Oprah. You know, since the age of 10, I used to run home and watch her 4 o'clock, you know, Channel 7. And I sat there and I had a very tough upbringing. My mom was amazing, just an amazing mom. But it was a very difficult upbringing with my stepfather. He had some alcohol issues. And in growing up in that space, that's all I really knew. And I, again, lived the secret life then, because I would go to school, have my game face, like everything's awesome, everything's great. And my one outlet was watching Oprah um, every every day at 4 o'clock, and I believed in everything she said. And I would write her letters, you know, before the internet.
Did you send her the letters?
Always, she never responded though.
Okay.
I forgive her. I would mail letters to her. I remember she had a walk once in New York City. I joined that walk. I was like 15, 16. I went, I high-fived her. So I actually got to meet Oprah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. And to her, she brought me through those really tough years when I had no one to talk to or to share my anguish, my pain, my turmoil. You know, at 10 years old, it's a heavy burden to carry when you know that life could be better, but you don't know how. And so yeah, she brought me through many of, and she still does till this day. Love her.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And at some point you figured out the how, right? You developed this Savvy Me system, which is a very complete system of mind and body and fitness and nutrition. So you figured out the how. Can you tell us like what that how is?
Yeah, absolutely. So when my husband was sick, like I said, prior to cancer, I was in a really bad place. Like, I'm going to tell you how bad. I used to pray, and I already had 3 children, and it's hard for me to say this, but it's the truth. I would sometimes pray to die because, and this is before his cancer, because life just got the best of me. It's just like depression has no rhyme or reason. It'll just come and you know, take over your life without warning. And that's where I was. And for me, cancer was a wake-up call. I hate cancer with a passion, but I am so grateful for the lessons that we learned through it. And so through that journey where we started adapting different things to help my husband thrive when he had stage 4 cancer, we started going to holistic doctors, and he went to Hippocrates Health Institute, and I was watching all these amazing holistic doctors share information. And I was just so hungry for knowledge. I had notebooks. You would think I was doing a research paper. And yeah. And then I started adapting many of these things. We both started doing yoga, and my husband was a man's man, right? He played ball, he coached men's basketball, and he couldn't be like bothered with any of this stuff. But now he was open to receiving any information that could just help extend his life. So we started practicing yoga together and going to sleep early, doing some meditation work at home, juicing. We had like the most expensive juicer in the market.
You're the Cadillac juicer.
The Cadillac of all juicers, the Norwalk. And we had it. It was just amazing. We did everything like top of the line. You know, we were gonna save him. We were gonna get this done. You know, we were gonna be on the news like stage 4 guy reverses cancer. You know, this holistic stuff. And we adapted this lifestyle, and sadly he died. But I continue to use the same methods that I learned through his sickness. So what happened was that after he passed away, I pretty much just picked up and was at peace with where my life was. And people questioned me. They were like, are you really okay? Are you, you know, are you faking it? Are you in denial? It's okay to let your feelings out. And I just felt like an alien. Like, I don't know what they're talking about. And what I realized is that they didn't know that I was working really hard behind the scenes to be strong. And so I started writing all these things down as women were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm juicing, and I do yoga, and I go to church. And when I finally decided to write these things down so I can be able to help other women and teach it, I realized this awesome acronym popped up at me, which is Savvy Me. And Savvy Me stands for, the acronym stands for S is for sleep, A is for an alkaline diet, V, the first V is for vitamins, the second V is validation and validating the loved ones around you. Y is for you, for things that fuel our soul that we have to do every day so we can, bring inner peace and inner joy. M is meditation and E is exercise. So that is what Savvy Me is all about.
I love Savvy Me. It's so fun and it's so complete. It's like such a holistic program. And so you've been leading some retreats and different things, right, to help people to implement this program. How's that going?
It's going great. I'm in my second pilot program right now, and it is going wonderful. It's really, really the most fulfilling work that I do. It's an extension of Beachbody, and it really allows me to help women create the tools that they need in order to thrive, because we're all so different. We all need a customized plan to be able to be successful. What works for you is not going to work for me, because we have different styles and we have different beliefs and core values. So that's what we build. And I'm really excited about that. And we recently had a women's retreat, a weekend away. And my little tagline is, a weekend away keeps the mind, body, and soul sane.
Yay!
Yeah, and I believe that, because I feel like my darkest moments, if I would have just been able to step away and recalibrate and to have access to things like this and other women that I can just check out for a weekend and not sacrifice so much of time with my family, that it would have really changed things for me. So.
Right. And now that you've moved into this role where you are a coach and you are a businesswoman who has this beautiful program and you're sharing it with others, is there any obstacles or any mistakes that you've made that you might tell other women who are considering this as a career, that they could learn from your experience?
For sure. I was just like, which one do I? So here's the thing. For me, I am a learning junkie. I constantly want to go to every workshop.
Every conference, buy every book.
It doesn't matter where it is. I'll be there. Just yes. Because you don't want to miss. It's FOMO, right? If you're missing out, like you're just like, I gotta be there. I'm gonna miss something really important. So that has been an asset in my life, that I've been able to go out and learn amazing things. But here's the thing, you can go out and attend every workshop under the sun this year that you want to attend. And unless you start implementing what you learned, it means absolutely nothing. So my greatest advice for someone, especially that wants to thrive in this business, is, even if you go to one workshop, take away all that information and really start implementing it and focusing and creating a game plan for your vision, versus attending 10 workshops and doing nothing with it. So that's
amen. Hallelujah. Like I have these calls on a daily basis pretty much now where, women call me up because they know the stuff I'm doing with women in wellness, and they're trying to make choices, between different certification programs and different trainings. And like, this one costs $5,000, this one costs $6,000. I don't know. And I'm just like, stop taking, and they say my credit cards are maxed out. And I'm like, please stop taking trainings. Like if you're not generating money, if you're not making a living with the trainings that you've already taken, then just wait a minute, like let yourself kind of use what you've learned, right, to help other women like you're describing. And then once your business is profitable, then use some of that to get additional certifications, and right?
100%, Gabby. I'm with you. 100%. Yes. School of hard knocks here, but I got it. I finally got it.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. So you're part of this community that I'm growing, this women in wellness community. Can you share a little bit about your experience of being on our calls and being in this group? Is it helpful for you? Is it supportive?
It is so supportive. And I am so happy. This finally feels like home, where I have, when we were talking and we're thinking about, who our mentors are, I was just like, this group is my group of mentors, and they're my colleagues. They're everything, because they're my friends now, because we're all working towards the same vision, but we're all bringing in our own unique voice and our own unique flavor to how we want to change the world. And I think that's so powerful to have, because sometimes in this type of business, or any business, you feel like there's competition, and that, there can't be collaboration. And no, there is beauty in collaboration. We help each other and we get ideas from each other, and that fuels us, and we don't feel alone. We all want to be heard in this world. We all want to be accepted. And what better way to do that with people who are like-minded and are moving forward in the same space that you are? I think it's so powerful, and I feel so blessed, Gabby, to be a part of it.
Yeah. I mean, you've said so many important things that are just like the core of what I think is critical for women in business, which is the women that are in the health and wellness space are not your competitors. You're all part of this community that's trying to create transformation for the world. That's like so significant. And each of us is so unique in our own way. Like, you're going to reach people that I'm not going to reach, and I'm going to reach people that you're not going to reach. And that's great, because together we're going to reach twice as many people, And this is something that I feel like has been excluded, from the marketplace for us for a long time. It's always been this kind of competition and trying to get above and be better than the next person. And, that's not what, building community and working together towards a vision is about. So I love the way that you articulated it. I think that's really important.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful way to work together to achieve something important. So the last thing I wanted to ask you about was your book. You wrote a book, and
right here.
yay! And tell us again the name of the book. What's the story about? Why did you write it?
Sure. So the name of the book is Surrendering: When Pain is Transformed into Extraordinary Blessings. It's a mouthful, but it is exactly what I wanted to share with the reader. So the book basically happened because when my husband passed away, I just found an incredible healing in sharing my story. So I just started sharing on Facebook, writing posts, and people connected to it. And I felt that people connected not just because of my story, but because it resonated something in their life where, I shared very deep things like, these are the mistakes I made in my marriage. I don't have a do-over, but you do, and
Yeah.
and it just like touched some people in a very powerful way. So when I was writing over like 8-9 months, people were just like, you need to put this in a book, you need to share this. And I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I will. So what really is the book is just 9 months of writing of Facebook. And I added some other pieces as well, but it really is my journey over the first 9 months of widowhood. And it talks about not just my experience during those 9 months, but looking back on my life and seeing things through different eyes now that I no longer had.
I get like the chills just like listening to you talk about it.
Thank you. Yeah, you see things so differently when you lose the one you love, and those things that you thought mattered don't mean anything. And those moments that seemed insignificant at the time are the most powerful moments for me now. And yeah, so it's good stuff. It was so healing for me to write that book. It was really one of the greatest things I did on my journey, because it just allowed me to release and to go, you know what, it's okay to find myself and just forgiveness in understanding that, we can not always, we just don't write our future, and it's in God's hands. And when we cannot control something, we have to surrender. And that's why I named the book Surrendering.
It's so beautiful. I mean, just the power of writing, the power of using that to heal yourself, and then to also give that as a gift to others who need to learn the forgiveness, need to learn the surrender. It's just such a great way to heal and connect. It's really powerful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. So if anyone who's watching or listening wants to find you to try the Savvy Mead method, to read your book, how can they get in touch or work with you?
I'm the Savvy Widow across the board. So my website is thesavvywidow.com. On Facebook, I'm the Savvy Widow. Instagram, the Savvy Widow. But my website is the best place to find me. And
nice.
And all my blogs for the last 3 years.
Yeah. And so I encourage everyone to check out The Savvy Widow. Make sure you get a copy of the book. Make sure you read the blogs. Make sure you join a retreat so that you can really, get some of the benefit of everything that Kenia has created for you. So please reach out. Please get in touch with her and follow her on social media. Thank you, Kenia, so much for coming and sharing your story and everything with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you again.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. You can join the Women in Wellness Club at women-in-wellness.com.